Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories. University Hospital Waterford had no confirmed cases of coronavirus on site last night. Non-essential retail stores are back in business across Waterford as COVID-19 restrictions are eased further. Up to 46 jobs are to go at the Brinks Cash and Transit base in Waterford. And in sport, Naas Racecourse stages the return of racing in Ireland this afternoon after a 76-day absence. There were no patients with coronavirus at University Hospital Waterford last night. According to the HSC's daily operations update, there were no confirmed cases on site as of 8 o'clock. However, there were 8 patients awaiting the results of COVID-19 testing. Shoppers in Waterford are returning to non-essential retail stores today as the country enters phase 2 of COVID restrictions. Catherine Kavanagh, manager of the book centre in Waterford City, says there's been a steady flow of customers all morning who are adhering to new measures in the shop.
Well, we have a one-way system coming in and again exiting the store. We have areas cordoned off. We have perspex up at the till points and at the front till. All of our regular staff are back. We haven't brought back any of the part-timers yet. We'll sort of ease them in the next couple of weeks. It's new to everybody. You know, it's the first day that all the shops are open again. So I just hope people are patient and bear with us, I suppose.
These people were out shopping in Waterford city centre.
I have lots of bags. I was just walking down the town and I popped into Dunn's, picked up lots of bits and pieces. Nice cup of coffee and Carter's. It's great to see the town starting to pick up and a bit of buzz around.
Shoes are top of my shopping list, absolutely. That's my first go-to. It's great to see Waterford back open for business. Excellent to see people out, yeah. I know, it's been hard for people to be home. It's been hard for businesses to be closed. So today it's a great day. And I suppose all I'd say to people is kind of be patient, be kind and support local.
Playgrounds in Waterford will not reopen today. The government announced on Friday that they could reopen under phase 2 of the lifting of restrictions if they were supervised. Some local authorities had interpreted the guidance as supervision from parents, while others have taken it to mean supervision by council staff, which Waterford Council says it's not in a position to provide. Director of Services with Waterford Council, Fergus Galvin, says they're looking for clarification on the issue.
I presume it's in relation to controlling close contact between kids using it, and also, I suppose, to control the numbers of kids going in using the playgrounds. The government guidelines would have recommended, I think, a maximum of 15 kids in a playground at any one point in time. Controlling that would be the issue, and supervising those numbers, I think, would be the issue.
Waterford's COVID-19 economic recovery plan has been launched. It's aiming to help the county to bounce back from the impact of coronavirus restrictions. Owen Dalton reports.
A wide range of measures were announced this afternoon following consultation with representatives of Waterford City and Town Centre management groups, the business and industry sector, the retail and hospitality sector and other key agencies and organisations. The plan includes pedestrianising some locations in the city and town centres and turning Waterford inside out with outdoor seating areas for food and beverage retailers. It also includes thermal imaging terminals to be installed where people can have their temperatures read. The recovery plan will seek to incentivise parking in the city centre to increase shopping times. Retailers wishing to avail of the outdoor street furniture scheme are being urged to apply for a licence from today. The licence fee for 2020 is being abolished to help all eligible businesses apply for the financial assistance under the scheme, with 75% of outlay covered, up to a maximum of €2,000. The campaign will continue throughout the recovery phase, with a call to Waterford people to support local jobs by buying Waterford whenever and wherever possible.
Hairdressers have revealed plans which they say should allow them to reopen earlier than planned. Currently, salons are due to open up in the final phase in July, but the Irish Hairdressers Federation says with certain measures in place they could safely reopen during phase 3. The list of 100 recommendations includes PPE for stylists and customers, COVID-19 training for staff, workstations being fully sanitised after each appointment, and customers' phone numbers being recorded for contact tracing. Waterford's Danielle Kennedy, president of the Irish Hairdressers Federation, says they could safely reopen in 3 weeks.
We will be recommending that stylists wear a mask and that salons will provide disposable masks for clients upon entry to the salon. Now, they are just recommendations. They're not enforceable, but we would recommend them because it is a close contact industry.
Negotiating teams are meeting again today in a bid to reach agreement to form the next government this week. Some significant issues remain as Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Greens enter what they hope will be the last few days of talks. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
The programme for government is now largely taking shape, bar some changes to the language, so that all three parties can try to sell it to their members. Progress was made during a meeting between Leo Varadkar, Micheál Martin and Eamon Ryan last night, but a few big issues remain. High among them, how and when to repay the billions of euro the state will borrow to deal with COVID-19, and how to achieve the 7% annual reduction in carbon emissions that the Green Party wants. Taoiseach Simon Coveney had said he hoped the talks process could finish as early as tomorrow, but most concede that that's an optimistic deadline, though there is a pressing urge now to conclude in the coming days. A series of important legislation needs to be passed by the end of June, and each party will need 10 days to 2 weeks to put any deal to their membership. It was always going to be difficult to bring together three parties that weren't overly keen on doing business with each other, and that process hasn't been helped by a leadership challenge within the Green Party. This week we will find out, though, if the negotiating teams and party leaders can come to an agreement. Whether their party members will ultimately approve it is an entirely different story.
Up to 46 jobs are to go at the Brinks Cash and Transit base in Waterford. Brinks Cash Services confirmed it'll close 3 of its 7 branches across Cork, Galway and Waterford with the loss of 160 jobs. The company say the closures are part of a national restructuring plan. It's understood that 46 staff at Brinks Waterford base were informed by the company's US head office last Thursday. The base at the Six Crossroads Business Park is expected to close in September. David Culnan, Sinn Féin TD for Waterford, says negotiations between trade union SIPTU and the company are ongoing.
Well, obviously it's not good news anytime we hear of job losses. I heard of these losses over the course of the weekend when I was contacted by a number of employees. So you're talking about somewhere between 40 and 50 jobs, and I think they're saying 46. The trade union are saying that they want to see the plan from the company as to exactly why the jobs are going and if they can agree to relocating some of the staff and keeping some if possible in Waterford.
David Culnan says the COVID-19 crisis has had a detrimental impact on operations.
What we're hearing from the company is that the main reason why they are restructuring is because during the COVID crisis, and this is a cash in transit service, that most companies are not using cash. It's cashless payments or there is less cash. But you'd have to ask, is that going to be a permanent situation? And then if not, then why are these job losses being announced at this time?
People will be banned from using hose pipes from tomorrow in a bid to conserve water. It comes following the driest May in 170 years, as Niall Colbert reports.
At the moment, 77 of Irish Water's 900 drinking water schemes are currently in drought or at risk of going into drought. It follows the driest May recorded since 1850. Irish Water spokesperson Tom Cuddy says that's pushed their supplies to the limit.
It's now reached the stage where the capacity of our networks and treatment plants is not sufficient to meet the demand. People's demand is increasing with the dry weather, particularly on the hot days.
To combat this, using garden hoses and other non-essential uses of water will be banned from tomorrow. Using a hose pipe for just 1 hour is the equivalent of the daily water usage of an average family. Managing Director of Irish Water, Niall Gleeson, says they can fine people for not obeying the ban, but he's hoping it doesn't come to that.
We have a fine, it's €125. Back in 2018, when we had a similar order, we didn't have to issue any fines. We got very good cooperation. We're hoping to have the same impact this time around.
People are being advised to use a watering can for the garden and a bucket and sponge to wash cars. The 6-week hosepipe ban will remain in place until midnight on July 21st.
The Cycle SOS Challenge begins in Waterford today and runs until June 21st in collaboration with WLR. The aim is to raise awareness for mental health and vital funds for suicide or survive. People are being asked to take on the 20k cycle challenge from your own home and donate on wlrfm.com/donate and nominate 3 people on social media using the hashtag CycleForSOS. Councillor Liam Brazel organises the annual cycle at Easter, which had to be postponed this year.
My cycle, Lemmy Bryan, that was never meant to be a fundraiser. It was meant to create awareness around mental health and suicide and try to break down the barriers and stigma that's attached to mental health and suicide. But the funds do help. As you do know, this year, like charities have been starved for funding this year. And if we can get funding for this mental health out, in turn they can come back to us with the great work that they do on their field of mental health. So it's important. It works both ways.
Make the smart play with Virgin Media. Check out their smart home packages at Virgin Media, George's Street, Waterford.
Sponsors of the sports news on WLR.
First to racing were Naas Racecourse stages the return of racing in Ireland this afternoon after a 76-day absence. The going at the Kildare track is good to firm and the forecast is for mainly dry conditions at the behind closed doors event. There are 134 horses declared on the 8-race card and the first goes to post at 5-3. Strict health and safety protocols are in place and Chairman of the racecourse Dermot Cantillon accepts they're in the spotlight today.
We're all a little bit nervous. We want to make sure everything goes right. The protocols are followed. Everybody's going to be watching us, and while we welcome that, we're also a bit apprehensive, and fingers crossed everything goes right for Naas in the day.
Jim Baglan says it's an honour to be part of Waterford's sporting history. The former Liverpool and Leeds United footballers in the running to be named Waterford's greatest sporting hero. He's on the final list of 25 compiled by a panel of experts. Jim Baglan spoke to Damien Tiernan on Daisha today.
It's a privilege to be part of a list like that. I went to Shamrock Rovers, as you mentioned, and Paddy Code. All I ever heard when I went to Shamrock Rovers was Paddy Code, and how brilliant Paddy Code was. And Alfie Hale was one of my heroes growing up, obviously on the soccer side of things. But yeah, it's an honour to be part of the Waterford sporting history of those that have probably made a little more impact than others.
You can have your say by voting on WLRFM.com. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.